Musclebox Radio episode number 23, I believe. So today I'm joined by Chris Emmett. Welcome to the show, Chris, again.
Thank you for having me back again. I've obviously not messed up in the previous episodes, so yeah, looking forward to another good podcast today.
Third appearance today, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, third appearance. Yeah, as I say, must be giving their listeners something they want.
No, you like what you've shared as well, and the other two have been great. So, yeah, and as I sort of said before on the previous podcast, is that we're going to be rotating the Team Box coaches on a lot more, and just so I can sort of quiz you guys more, really. And I thought, yeah, let's get you on the show. So we decided today that we would talk about Christmas gains or navigating Christmas period, because obviously, you know, it's just one of those that it's on people's minds, you know, and if you're, you know, into your training and you're concerned about, you know, body composition to a degree and not letting everything go absolutely loose, or go on a crazy sort of bulk, or, you know, or worry about the aftermath of all that kind of stuff, or getting back on things, then hopefully today I can quiz Chris and he can help you, you know, navigate this period over, you know, the next month with New Year's and alcohol and a little bit like that. I don't drink, so it's not very. There's no point me talking about alcohol. I know how to track it if I was going to, but I think Chris is probably going to have some more practical tips. Not that Chris is an alcoholic or anything, or that he's a real big boozer, but he just drinks a little bit more than me, so he's probably the better one to tell you about this sort of stuff, really. So we thought it'd be great to get him on the show.
Yeah, this drink I'm having right now isn't vodka, mate. It is water. It is water. It's early. It's 10 to 10.
That's good. Good to hear, mate. So, yeah, obviously, well, first of all, Christmas party. We've just had the Team Box Christmas party. Do you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, mate. It was awesome. It was great to have so many clients there, and obviously, what we do is we are online, so working remotely like we do, we couldn't probably find a venue which is going to be suitable for everyone, but Bath being probably the kind of, I don't know, spiritual home of Team Box, should we say that?
Yeah.
We managed to get sort of about 26 of us, wasn't there? 26?
Yeah, 26, yeah. And actually, it was meant to be 29, but 3 people couldn't make it in the end through one reason or another. So, yeah, to get 26 people all in one room for dinner, when, yeah, we've got clients in Birmingham, in Exeter, in Cornwall, in one lad, and massive shout out to James for this. Yeah. So one of our clients, James, drove down from Glasgow just to come to the Christmas party.
Yeah, left at 2 a.m. in the morning.
7-hour drive. James, you are an absolute hero.
Yeah, he was a hero, and he was you know, it wasn't a late one. We had lunch a bit earlier and then did a really good squad training session. Yeah. But he was the last one to go back to his digs in the evening. So fair play to him.
Yeah, no, he was. And I can remember him saying that he was like, at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, he probably would have just got onto the main motorway, and he was like, "What am I doing?" And he turns on his sat nav, and it goes, "In 385 miles, please take a left." And he was like, "Well, you can turn off for a start."
Yeah, no, it was a really good weekend, and good to catch up with all the clients. A few that we've met before at the retreat last year, and a couple that I hadn't met before. So yeah, awesome weekend, and yeah, just great to catch up. Good squad training session. Yeah, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah, we had quite a lot of people return back from the Team Box training retreat or training camp, which we did last year in July. So it's great to see all those faces again, and for them to see each other as well was really, really good. And we're now planning the next one for hopefully around May, June time. So that'll be exciting when I've launched that out to our clients again, and we get more people on there, and hopefully that'll be a nice popular one. So, but yeah, it was great, you know, and again, thanks to Ministry of Fitness, which is Tom Blackman's gym, who we had on the show before, for having us at his gym and letting us all train there in one go, as obviously there was quite a lot of us, but yeah, it's good. It was a good meal. So anyway, Christmas time, social events, Chris. Obviously, it's something that they're much more frequent. There could be, work Christmas parties. There could be entertaining clients more. There could be family occasions. And then you've got the actual days themselves, like, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. It's just food all over the place, mate.
Yeah, I think it's a time of year that everyone really does enjoy and look forward to. It's the end of a long year. People obviously can have a bit of time off with holiday, to take a bit of a break from work. But yeah, hand in hand comes that a bit more eating and a bit more drinking. And I'd say anyone who's been on point throughout 2016 and has achieved some really good goals, could potentially look at this time of year and be a bit apprehensive about how they're going to deal with it.
I was going to say that it's probably quite normal actually for to have a little bit of anxiety about it, and it's if that's it, if you've worked all really hard all year and you're into your training and stuff, and you don't want to be sat there in January thinking, I need to diet, because that's kind of it might not be conducive to the best approach, right?
No, not at all. And you don't want to have this kind of yo-yoing system of having overeating, dieting. You want to try and be a bit more consistent. And before, I think before we go into the strategies that you can implement and the methods you can use, I think even if you're starting to think about what you're going to do over Christmas and New Year, already probably tells you that you're going to be a bit more careful because you're thinking about it. Those are just like, wow, it's December, it's Christmas, and don't worry about 2017. Those are the people who are going to go backwards a bit. But if you are starting to think about how can I plan around this, how can I set up certain methods, then you're going to sort of self-regulate, being aware, potentially. Yeah. So it's just having a bit of a loose plan, giving yourself some days where you're a bit tighter, days where you're a bit more relaxed, and then you just enjoy it as well. You don't want to be stressing out over Christmas. The worst thing can be stressing out over a period like this where you've got time off work. Some people's work is stressful enough rather than having stress over holidays.
Yeah, that's it. It's kind of like that double-edged sword, isn't it? You want to be mindful, but not stressful. And you want to be, do you see what I mean? So you want to kind of sit somewhere in the middle of just kind of, having some flexibility, but not just in, we talk about flexible dieting, like, providing you hit your macros and you get 80% single ingredient food, then you got the other 20% to be flexible or eat whatever you want. But I'm kind of more on about the flexibility that I'm probably enjoying now is more like a lot more intuitive eating, mindful eating, and it's just making sensible choices, because I know ultimately that my body's going to regulate on a certain amount of calories over the week, and at the moment myself, I'm not tracking my food, so but I'm still going to social events. Obviously we had the Christmas party. I think I ended up eating an extra steak, but lo and behold, at the end of my week, actually, I'm down a little bit. My day-to-day, my weight, so the only thing I'm tracking right now is my body weight. And I'm using that as a marker of, how much am I eating? And I'm just kind of trying to eat when I'm hungry, and going for more that approach. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend that to everyone, just because I've been tracking for a long, long time. I can look at food and I know the have the protein content within that meal and all that kind of stuff, so I can ensure that I'm getting enough fiber, protein, and then I'm kind of letting obviously fats and carbohydrates come in as I want them, really, providing it's maintaining body weight. And if over the last couple of weeks, if body weight would have shot up and body composition would have gone a little bit looser, I would have had to rein that bit back in. So, but right now I'm finding myself in some good territory.
Yeah, I think you've just got to be a bit mindful about what you're doing, and as I say, some people can do that. Some people do need to be more strict and rigid, and very much that can depend on someone's experience. So, with some of my clients, is that I try and get them to just educate themselves, to look at a meal, trying to work out the calories within it, give themselves some strategies to do, so they're not having to constantly search through MyFitnessPal, constantly worried about X macro or whatever. Even things to implement things like intermittent fasting with an 8-hour eating window. That making that eating window a little bit smaller is reducing the time that you can eat, and the potential to overeat in that period is going to be highly reduced. So. Yeah, I think.
We can definitely get into some of the strategies or coping methods, can't we? To, because ultimately it comes down to calorie balance. So, over the week, there are going to be days where, you are able to. Let's just start from the top, really. If most people right now, or you're probably sat in a calorie surplus to agree, because you're probably looking to gain a little bit of muscle, right? This now is a prime time to actually put yourself in a calorie surplus, grow a little bit of tissue. So if you're having more calories coming in than you're expending at the moment, providing your weight training and you're getting a good amount of protein in, then actually that's a good thing. So it gives us a little bit more flexibility straight away, because it's slightly more purposeful overeating, should we say. So then anything above and beyond a huge amount, in for a surplus for me, I would normally probably be in a 500 calorie surplus, maybe 600, somewhere 500 to 600 calories for me is probably about right. I'm kind of maintaining body weight would probably maintain around 2,700 at the moment, so anywhere up to 3,200 for me, and I'm if I sort of stay within those parameters, I know I'm okay for being in a surplus. Then obviously that gives us a good degree of flexibility anyway. But from week to week, from point to point, or the average to the average of 1 week to the next, providing you're within that sort of range from maintenance to a slight surplus, body composition is going to still be looking pretty tight, training performance is still going to be going great. So then how you decide to undulate those calories is completely up to you, right? Because there could be days where if I knew I had a big meal out on Saturday, for example, I might eat a lot lighter on Thursday and Friday. So rather than, let's just go with 3,000 calories, so that's 21,000 calories over the week, I could have one day at 2,000, another day at 2,000, and the next 2 days up at 4,000, and so on and so forth. So instead of having an average of 3 every single day, I could just sort of change that up and down as I wish, so I can cater for a much larger meal.
Yeah, and it's a really good way to look at it, and I think people can get a bit greedy with calories and stuff in terms of not taking those days where you are a little bit lower. And quite honestly as well, when your calories have been high for a while and you've been getting a decent amount of food in, training, you've been going well, it's actually quite nice to feel a bit more hungry on a day or so, because you get a better idea of the meals you might want to increase satiety, that kind of thing. And it's quite easy to be not hungry for a day or two, but just feel like you're not completely full, because you've got those days where you're going to be eating a bit more. Yeah. So it's just trying to. Again, the calories can be really compared to income, can't it? Let's say you've got a holiday coming up. Well, potentially those 2 weeks before you go on holiday, you're going to be probably reining spending back, because you're going to be spending more, and it's exactly the same comparison. It would be silly to just continue to spend money without any kind of conscious of what you're doing, and then all of a sudden, you're in your overdraft, etc., and you've got your holiday and you're in a bad place, rather than just thinking, no, I'm not going to eat out at all this week. I'm just going to be a bit more savvy with my spending, and then I've got money saved for a holiday, etc.
Because that's the worst thing. You don't want to be eating and feeling guilty. No. And everyone is going to be a little bit different. Some people do have different, they do have different relationships with the food, with the scales, with their own image in the body, in their body image. Sorry, in their image body, in their body image. Am I back in prep? Is prep?
I think so, mate.
I think prep mouth is back. Oh, goodness. So yeah, I think everyone's relationship is a little bit different, but like you said, you're just about being mindful in the days before. So kind of what would be great, I think, is if we could go over some tactics for eating out. And for me, if I've got a social event or a meal out, I see it in, I think there's 4 levels And ground zero is literally doing nothing about it. It's just kind of going, eating whatever you want, not having a care in the world, but just really enjoying that meal. But with that, obviously, comes the greater chance of a much larger, increase in calories, which, you can get away with probably now and again. But if you continue to do so, and you are conscious about body composition, then it's probably not the best approach. Then the next level, which is level 1, is just about being mindful. So it's making sure you've got a good protein serving at that meal. You probably, might refrain away from some of the calorie extras, I would call them, like dressings on salad. Like, it doesn't really do anything for me, dressing, or like covering my like steak in olive oil, or my salad in olive oil or something. It just doesn't really do anything. It doesn't, for me, it doesn't improve the taste of the meal. So removing things like that is always a slightly better option if you want to keep the overall calories down, because then I can have dessert then, you see. So it's about kind of picking your battles, so to speak, isn't it?
Yeah, I think. Sorry, you look like you're going to talk.
Yeah, and then what I'd probably do there, and then when you're like picking your starter, depending on the main, so let's just take a typical 3-course meal. I might go for something like the soup for a starter. If it's like a vegetable-based one, I know it's going to be reasonably lean. So the fat's obviously not going to be particularly high in that meal. A couple of pieces of bread, that's starter done with a sort of low calorie amount. Then for a main, I'll probably order whatever I want. And normally for me, it's like steak and chips. And even then you can make, if I was going for steak, I'd probably go fillet, because I know that it's much, much leaner than something like a ribeye. And actually I much prefer the taste of a fillet as well. So, it is about being sensible with those choices. So rather than just ordering a steak, there's big difference between that, and having a little bit of education in knowing the macronutrient composition of those foods just allows you to make, okay, I'll go fillet, it's a bit leaner, and you don't have to worry about the kind of the rest. Are you having potatoes with the butter on, or you're adding more on and all that kind of stuff. So maybe a small amount just to cover it, to make it a nice taste, but nothing too much. And then you go for some like maybe side veggies for a bit of satiety, some good micronutrients, whatever, fiber, and then dessert, whatever it be, like a bit of ice cream with chocolate torte or something. And I think there, for me, if I was going for that approach, I would probably give myself 200 to 300 calories for my starter, about 1,000 calories for my main, and then about another 300 for my dessert. So then I know over a 3-course meal, that's roughly 1,500 calories. So that kind of takes me on to that next sort of level. It's just, that being mindful, knowing you're like allotting a certain amount towards it. And then you can kind of move on to the next level, which would be estimating each individual part, right, of the meal.
Yeah, and I think all these strategies are totally individual. Someone could, in theory, use the level 1 where they don't track and don't worry about it. And depending on what they eat in a day, that might actually work for them. But as you go through these levels that we're going to go through in terms of tracking and being particular the calories, it's all going to be very much in line with what you've got coming up in terms of goals, etc. So, for me, if I was going to go, go out for dinner tonight, I would probably leave myself a similar amount of calories to what you've just mentioned there, to make sure that I'm within line with my daily intake, not going too over, not going too under. And just keep making sure I'm in the right ballpark. However, if I look back to when we were prepped for our competition, I had to go out for a meal for my grandpa's birthday. I think it was 3 weeks before the competition. We went out to a pub, and I just looked over the menu in advance. Now, obviously, this is, it was quite close to the deadline of a goal.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be overeating at all, but I'm not going to miss out on a social occasion, because again, any diet that pulls you out of a social occasion is probably not advisable, unless you are very, very close to a goal or competition, maybe a couple of days out or something. But yeah, I looked ahead, chose the sea bass, had a soup for starters, and then had some vegetables with the sea bass, and I kind of tracked it on MyFitnessPal, just had a look through some recent entries which looked about right. And then when I had the meal, I knew I could pretty much, with a sense of taste, know the kind of calories in that meal. And I was pretty bang on. I think I woke up the next day and my weight was down a little bit. So yeah, it's just a bit of planning, isn't it? Being advanced, and the level you take it in terms of what you do with that meal is pretty much going to be in line with when your goal is, or how well you are doing in your goal. Like if you're in a great place in terms of your weight loss and you just want to keep on that track, then don't let a social meal throw you off point because you feel you have to.
Yeah.
You can still keep pretty tight.
So yeah, I would definitely call that sort of next sort of level what you did there. So you're kind of looking through MyFitnessPal, looking for suitable foods, maybe looking at eyeballing it, and thinking, oh, how much is that salmon? I reckon that's about 200 grams. So yeah, that's that kind of next level up, isn't it? So obviously you got ground zero, not doing anything. Level 1, mindful eating, giving yourself like allotting a certain amount of calories, like I said, and then what you've kind of alluded to is that next level, which is kind of pre-looking at the menu, looking at when each part of the meal, that's probably about 200 grams of broccoli or 200 grams of salmon or sea bass, as you said, and then when you got the soup, you might go on like Waitrose and put in a Waitrose like tomato soup or something, a couple of bits of bread, and you actually track that into your MyFitnessPal, rather than like if you were just doing it mindfully, you might do a quick ad or something. And then the next level, which I would do when I was in prep, is I'd actually take my scales and weigh my food out. For me it was after I've been dieting for like 36 weeks, I'm tracking everything, and for me I just scales under the plate, quickly tear the scales, pick up the steak, take it off. I can see how much it weighs cooked, put it back on. The potatoes, do the same, so I can be even more accurate, which again, it's like, for me that's a really, really important thing, and I don't mind doing it, and if it means I can eat out with my friends and my family, they're also not going to mind either.
Yeah, I think mentally it's as much of anything, isn't it? You're not leaving any stone unturned. You're doing all the right things. Yeah. That meal is just another meal, and I think in this situation I just didn't take the scales just because I just didn't. But I know I've been in social situations.
Well, you have.
I've been there to go. We have, and I'm not saying you do, you don't, but a lot of the time when you're preparing for some goal, it's all about the mental battles and just ticking off these little victories, and just going out for a meal that you navigate, you enjoy it, you've been on point, you're just like, dieting is hard to be consistent, but in terms of if you set it up correctly, it can actually be quite easy. Again,
it is striking that balance between, okay, I'm going to be mindful about this meal coming up, but I don't want to overly stress about it so it totally consumes me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the darker side of prep or tracking, or the thing is, like, sometimes tracking or looking at macros can make people feel a little bit kind of like OCD, or it could bring on those behaviors. But really, if you're looking to control something, in with us it's calories, which whatever way you want to do it, whether that's kind of like an intermittent fasting protocol, whether it's like, I don't know, eating carbs within a certain window, like so you're restricting on time, or you are eating some foods, so like what most people would deem clean eating, so some foods which are very much just single ingredient foods throughout the week, and then at the weekend have a kind of whatever you want meal, or as obviously a lot of people call it, a cheat meal. They're restricting, like whatever approach you go for, if you want to take it to maximum level, like kind of OCD behaviors, you're going to, if that's what you're going to do. Like, I think people have those tendencies, and it's all about, if you do have those tendencies, making sure you pick the right strategy so the overarching, science behind why things work, because then I think that allows you to regain control. Yeah,
I think tracking calories, for some people, in terms of being strict, it's going to, I think strict, that's the wrong word. For a lot of people, it's going to work really well because you just take out all the variables. You're very precise. You're very consistent. And let's say you go to the gym and you record all your lifts and your loading and your volume, but you decide not to track your calories. Well, it's just as important in my eyes. And of course, there are certain times where you may just want to pump the brakes a little bit, take a bit of a diet break, do some intuitive eating, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day,
I know they still count, although I'm not eating. You know, I know that I'm eating calories. That's the most important thing.
Exactly. People kind of think, oh yeah, no, just don't look at calories, and it's like, well, you do when you size up a plate of a meal and think, oh, it's a big meal. In theory, you're sizing up the calories, aren't you? So yeah, and there's times where you're going to be more consistent and really bang on. There's times where you're just going to be in the ballpark, but it's understanding that it's going to work. It's going to work if you look at the calories, if you look at the precise macronutrients. It's going to work, whatever your goals are. So people, when they say, just can't lose weight, it's like, well, you can. You're just not really put the variables and everything in the right place. And as I say, for myself as well, is that there's times where I know that I probably don't need to track calories, but I like to, because I like to know what I'm eating, and I like to know the quantities of foods I'm eating, and also the case is that if my calories are a bit high, I don't want to undereat.
Because you'll do yourself a disjustice because your performance won't be there.
Exactly, and obviously then when you're a period of dieting or fat loss, you don't want to overeat. So yeah, it's sometimes when people don't track calories and they just try and eat well, but they've got no experience of that, it's a bit like fumbling around in the dark. And yeah, you might be successful by luck, but then more often than not, you've got no idea what you're eating in theory.
That's exactly it. So I think we've obviously spoke about like different ways you can actually navigate a meal out, but I would always say to people, if you are looking at calories, and depending on whatever approach you're taking, I think it's a good idea to know how many calories you're actually ingesting day to day, and then it's a good idea to know what you're ingesting over the week on an average, and then you can start to manipulate things like when people generally kind of eat clean, and they do that, let's say Monday to Saturday, then on the Sunday they have their like cheat meal, then all they're basically doing, if you are having, let's go with the 3,000 a day average, so 2,100 calories over the week, and this cheat meal is like a large Domino's with a tub of Ben and Jerry's. We've all heard the stories, we've all seen the pictures. It could be quite easily a 6,000 to 7,000 calorie day that day, right?
Oh yeah, because obviously that meal in itself is going to be 3,000 odd calories.
Exactly. So and if you want to have a 6,000 calorie day, then okay, whatever. But then obviously what tends to happen with that approach is that some days they might be doing 1,500 in the week for, from Monday to Saturday, then having this huge day, which then would average them out if they would have just ate 3,000 a day anyway.
Yeah.
So then they could have had they could have gone out on a Tuesday evening with their, with your girlfriend or something, and gone for a nice steak meal or something like that, and, enjoyed a lot more frequent social occasions and still made the same progress, but without that feeling of, oh my God, because I know what it's like when if I eat 6,000 calories, I'm led there like, oh my God, I think so, it's going to come back up, I feel like I'm going to explode. But yeah, and I think the most important thing is understanding what you're actually doing, and then you can make some adjustments. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with going, do you know what, I'm going to eat a little bit lighter on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday because they're real busy for work. Like yesterday, I pretty much forgot to eat. Like I trained, had a protein shake after I trained, and then after that, I pretty much forgot to eat. I had an apple and then came home in the evening and just ate a meal, because Monday's a really busy day for me. So why don't I just, if Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are real busy, bring calories down on those 3 days, and then on the next 3 days I can probably take them a little bit higher above the average, so I can enjoy some more foods really. But it's just knowing that and understanding the principles, not that, for example, I think some people believe, and there's nothing wrong with that, because it's just that misunderstanding that maybe that cheat meal or that big 6,000 calorie meal improves their metabolism or what way, and it just doesn't do that. So it's just understanding the confounding variables that cause weight loss or cause weight gain, and that is persistent calorie restriction or surplus, depending on which way.
Yeah. So
you mentioned about intermittent fasting. Explain what that is, Chris, just in case. And maybe go through some different ways of fasting as well, how we can bring back calories down for a while.
Yeah, so when I use the term intermittent fasting, I often refer to the 16-8. So that's an 8-hour eating window and a 16-hour fast. And if you're good at maths, you'll realise that equals 24 hours. And I use that with a couple of my clients. I've used it once or twice myself. But as actually someone who likes breakfast, although I'm going to counteract this in a second, I haven't used it as much myself personally. But yeah, what this does is that, let's say you've got a day coming up and you've got a big afternoon or evening meal, is that it's going to close up that eating window. And more often than not, people might eat meals over, let's say 12 hours. Probably more than that. No, people are up for more than, let's say someone wakes up and has their first meal at 8 o'clock. They might have their last meal, so around 8 o'clock. So there's a 12-hour eating window. So by just reducing that by 4 hours, you're going to just close up that time of eating, and that's going to help you keep your calories a little bit lower, unless you are for some reason thinking you've got an 8-hour eating window and you're deciding to just fit as much in as you can. That's obviously not the point of it. But yeah, you can really control the amount of calories you can have. And for generally most people, if they do the intermittent fasting, their first meal could be about 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So they kind of maybe skip breakfast.
And that's it. It's understanding why you're doing it, and it's understanding that the intermittent fasting is literally skipping a meal, which if your breakfast is 500 calories, so let's say you had 100 grams of oats and a scoop of whey, that is about 400 to 500 calories. So if you take that out, then you're just naturally reducing calories without really, I suppose, trying, aren't you? Because it's very easy just not to eat in the morning.
Yeah, and then obviously your last meal, as I say, 11 would be about 7, or if you start at about 12, it could be 8.
Yeah.
And this could work quite well for people over Christmas, because let's say they're going around just one of their families for a meal, and maybe it's not Christmas Day, Boxing Day, or Christmas Eve, it's another day, but they know there's going to be a big meal there. Well, yeah, you could just go to the gym in the morning, do a little bit of light training for an hour and a bit, and then have your first meal at about 11 or 12, and if you have a decent sort of size meal, a good sort of breakfast or brunch, whatever, and then maybe just a snack in the afternoon, and then you've got your evening meal. And let's say if you had a good sort of breakfast and a snack, you might have only had about 800-900 calories, and that gives you plenty to play with for the evening. And obviously that really interesting lecture we went last week talked a lot about how this protocol can really work for people who aren't counting calories, because it closes that eating window, and fasted cardio, there's no miracle to fasted cardio, but what it will do is that it will, instead of eating before the gym, is that you go to the gym, let's say you're 2 hours in and out between changing, training, it just delays that first meal, doesn't it? And then you're not going to be as hungry later in the day, and your meals just stagger 2-3 hours, and if they stagger 2-3 hours, that can be a case of just minimizing those calories. So yeah, it's a really good little way you can do things. Now obviously you could put it the other way around. If you really wanted to, you could
have breakfast.
Yeah, have breakfast, exactly, and then actually have if you've got a big lunch you're going to, let's say you've got a Christmas party and it's at 1 o'clock, then you can have your breakfast, and then go and then obviously you've got your big meal for work or whatever, and then have a little bit of a snack, and then maybe go do a bit of training in the evening, and then that's you done really. And rather than unnecessarily having a meal in the evening, because I always have dinner. Well, are you hungry? Well, no, but I always have dinner. It's like, well, that's not the point, is it? The point is, eating is. Some people just get into the habit of eating just for the sake of eating. Because
for some reason we believe that you have to have a breakfast, a lunch and a dinner, when actually that's only social norms. But if you are trying to improve body composition, I would go and say that actually that isn't a social norm, because socially people aren't, and that's probably why we've got such high rates of obesity, is because the normal unfortunately isn't really working. So stepping outside normal is often what we need to do.
Yeah, and the thing is as well is that eating is obviously an enjoyable social experience, but for some people it can be a way of relieving boredom. People can just do it for the sake of it. Sit in front of the TV just snacking there when they probably don't need to. And I love, I'm not saying I don't like doing that, but I'm mindful of what I'm doing. I'm not just there just eating, and it's just like people just switch off and they just think, I didn't eat that much yesterday. And then if you really dug deep, you're like, well, no, you had this there, you had this here. So I think intermittent fasting can be a really good protocol for people to use that 16-8 eating window. And I'd say it's something I use with a couple of my clients where they've got a stressful week, and if we have been looking at monitoring calories, we might just put that on the back burn. And quite honestly, I've got some really good results off it. People have done really, really well in terms of weight loss or weight maintenance or whatever their goal has been.
Yeah, Laura asked me actually how I would go about periodizing a training program based on or a training week based on if someone was intermittent fasting, and I want to write a blog post about it actually. And basically, I calendared out over the week when people or when energy would be coming in, obviously when there'd be periods of fasting, and then when would be the most optimal times to train based on recovery, so you could still kind of get most bang for your buck. Obviously you're compromising a little bit, but essentially what I structured out would be, I think, the more optimum, shall we say, that would be the better word than optimum, so making the best of a situation. Approach for training around a fasted period. For me, I really like basically eating breakfast, and then I can go literally until dinner without eating. Like that I could just do 2 meals a day, but kind of like flip it on its head, so to speak, and just have a massive gap in the middle where I don't eat. I'm more, that also works for me as a way of restricting time. It's not particularly extending the fast. That's not what it's doing. It's just a delayed or much bigger eating window. So I could probably eat my first meal at, let's say, 7 in the morning. Get a protein serving in there, eat again at like 11, get another protein meal in there, and then I might eat again at 6, and then again at 9. So I could actually still get 4 meals in with a good amount of protein in those 4 meals. And spike muscle protein synthesis, the refractory period comes in, spike it again, but then I'm having this massive window in the middle where I'm not thinking about food, I'm nice and full, I can crack on with my work, and that kind of works pretty good for me as well. So that's another little option. What James Betts and Javi Gonzalez up at Bath University spoke about at the lecture we went to. And this was what I will do is I will share this. They recorded the live lectures actually, and I will share that into the Musclebox Radio Facebook page. So if you would like to join that, then you need to email me a question. So if you email me the question info@teambox, I will then send you the link so you can join the Facebook link or the Facebook group, where we can get a lot of really good interaction in there. But I need questions for the podcast, and I think this would be a great way for people to ask questions, get involved, good discussions and all that stuff. So I'll share that lecture in there. But basically, they sort of spoke about this alternate day fasting, where I think a lot of people struggle from eating, like the 5-2 diet, where essentially for 2 days of the week you eat, is it 500 calories?
Yeah, it's again, you can tell that I've really not ever really implemented it at all.
Yeah. So
500 calories.
So basically, 5 days a week you eat whatever you want, and 2 days of the week you just eat 500. But that's not really alternate day fasting, because you're still eating, right? So I think what they presented was an idea of, rather than thinking every single day that there could be a day where you're not going to eat and you're going to completely fast that day, is to bring in an option where you eat every single day, but you still have a 24-hour period of not eating, right?
Yeah.
So it might
kind of blocking the days out, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it'd go from like 12 till 12.
Yeah.
So that one day you would eat breakfast, or like let's say 8 until 12, you would stop eating at 12 midday, and you wouldn't eat anything again until midday the next day, but then you would eat from midday until, let's say, 12 the next day. Yeah, so you've got then and then your next eating out window would be, in the example I gave from eating from 8 until 12 was only simply based on waking up time. So yeah, you're either eating in the morning or you're eating in the evening, and it kind of like flips on its head like that, and you could choose which way you wanted to do it. But that way, at least you're eating something every day, right?
Yeah. And the thing is that you're still going through a 24-hour fasting period, but you're actually eating every day, because people seem to forget about the time when they're asleep at night. That is a period of fasting.
Yeah.
yeah, people seem to forget that.
Nice. Cool. So we spoke about fasting, we spoke about lowering down calories in the week, and having some higher days. Yeah, and then the other option is actually improving your NEAT, isn't it? So this is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So this is just everything that you do day to day, which makes up your metabolic rate, your TDEE, which is your total daily energy expenditure. This is one of those variables. So improving your NEAT could literally be ways of, like I did after my show, when obviously I hadn't fully recovered, and I knew I had a big meal to go to. So what I would do is I'd walk there instead of drive. So I'm just getting in, if I manage to walk somewhere, and it takes me an hour to walk there and an hour to walk back, that's probably around, for me, about 1,200 calories that I've just, 2 hours worth of walking. Yeah, about 1,200 calories right there.
Yeah, I think it's obviously your NEAT can be broken down into lots of different segments, and NEAT can be as much as the energy you expend in terms of movement and general, fidgeting, that kind of thing. And with people, when their calories have been a little bit lower, and then they increase those calories, that will actually increase without you really being aware of it. So your movement will just increase.
Yeah.
You'll just move around and you'll burn more calories. And for some people, that can actually, with some clients where I've slowly increased the calories, they actually lose a bit more weight because their just NEAT goes up and their energy expenditure with the training sessions go up because they're better quality. But let's say the things that you can control, things like your general steps, movement like that, just parking the car further away instead of parking at the closest spot. And it's just alarming to see how lazy people really are.
Take the stairs rather than the escalator.
Oh man, there's a shopping centre near me, and there's an escalator going up, there's an escalator going down, and there's a set of stairs in the middle. And it's a very small set of stairs, but it is pretty much always empty. The escalators are packed, and people you're just not even thinking about it. They're just taking the easiest option all the time.
Yeah.
So around this time of year, just if you're going to go for a bit of shopping, catch a few bargains after Christmas, take the stairs. Don't take the escalator instead of taking the lift. Or it could be getting out for a nice long walk. If the weather's nice, take your dog out. Do an extra 8,000 to 10,000 steps. You're going to have a bit of time off work anyway. People say walk off that Christmas lunch is a bit of a cliche, but it's not too far true. It's not too far wrong. If you are going to go for a nice long walk before or after your Christmas dinner, that could be the same. That could be the difference of burning off a Christmas pudding portion. If
exactly.
You're out for an hour and a half.
No, definitely. It's a great thing to do. And I think all those ideas you've suggested are absolutely brilliant, really. And it's just about being more active. And one thing I would say, actually, is don't hammer yourself in the gym on leg day when you can't walk, because that is the worst you can do. So if you were to look at, a lot of people really, really smash their legs, which is great for probably building muscle, but not if you are trying to maintain, good caloric output across your week. So if let's say a hard leg session was, you trained for an hour, let's call it 400 calories, and I'm probably there or thereabouts. But then let's say a super hard leg session where you did all the drop sets and a lot of heavy eccentric sets where you're then, which as we know, heavy eccentric reps or negative reps are what causes DOMs to a greater degree. Yes, that might burn an extra 100 calories in that time, or I'll be optimistic and give you 200 calories for that extra hard session. Let's say it's 600 calories. But then if you are led down for the rest of the day and do not move because your legs are so destroyed, then actually you're probably missing out on, if normally you would have gone and walked around, walking for an hour can be 400 calories. So I think it's just about being mindful of your training. Not I think sometimes is, because we train hard, we sometimes think, I can take the lift or I can take the escalator because I train hard. But realistically, it doesn't actually utilize that many calories training. Not as many as we probably think. So actually, we still need to be mindful of being active day to day.
Yeah, I think some personal trainers could could fall into this this habit and this mistake, really, where they feel all they need to do is beat their clients to unknown levels, so they absolutely smash them up, so they can't walk for 2 days. Well, yeah, all right, you've given them a good training session, but what you might have done is, reduce their energy expenditure for the next 2 days by 500-600 calories, because, they're not going to take the stairs, they're going to take the lift. And if that client is trying to achieve weight loss, well, maybe it's just about pushing them hard in a good leg session where they're going to get good progression, but they're going to be a little bit stiff and sore next day, but they're not going to be like, I can't physically move.
Yeah.
So you can keep their energy expenditure and keep their NEAT high.
Nice, yeah. So, no, that's good. We've still got so much to talk about, Chris. I'm just looking at our whiteboard. We haven't even.
Yeah, what would you say? What the next sort of, let's say, 2 more key points that we could think about?
So, next one I think we should probably talk about is alcohol.
Yeah.
And then I think we can probably have a quick look over what we wanted to talk about was what we'd want for Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's the exciting one, mate. That's what we've been looking forward to.
Yes, we'll keep that one in. And then we can talk about the exciting news that Team Box has at the moment. So, we can briefly touch on that. So, alcohol. So, if I'm mistaken, please correct me at any point, Chris. And it's been a while since I actually looked into tracking alcohol. So, for me, and this is where a lot of people go wrong. They think that there are 3 macronutrients. There's actually 4. And alcohol is the 4th macronutrient. I heard someone say yesterday on their Facebook Live, someone asked about macros, and they were like, oh, so the 3 macros, and I'm like, technically no, there are 4.
I think I know where you watched that, mate.
Huh?
I think I might know where you watched that.
Yeah, painful. It just shows a lack of understanding, doesn't it, really? So there are 4, especially if you are someone who is an educator or, a fitness professional. Yeah, there's 4 macronutrients. And and it's not commonly thought about, but it's there, right? And it's just good to know that and educate clients on and stuff. So the alcohol is the 4th one. And there are 7 calories per gram. Okay, so in terms of caloric, obviously protein and carbohydrates are both 4 calories per gram, and then fat is 9 calories per gram. Now, this is actually the macronutrients found within the food. So, there's, again, some people believe that, or mistake, should I say, like a chicken, although it is a protein source, 1 gram of chicken is not 1 gram of protein. So if you had 100 grams of chicken, that's let's say a raw weight chicken breast, that's around 30 grams of protein, isn't it? So it's actually the grams of protein, grams of carbohydrates, etc. So the way I would work this out, if you're trying to work out the caloric content of alcohol within a beverage, you first need to find the alcohol percentage of that drink. Okay, so what's a typical spirit, Chris? What's the
oh god,
let's say vodka, right? Straight vodka. It's a simple one to work out.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's about 40%, isn't it?
40%?
In terms of the measure, but let's say the easy way to.
But what's the percentage of the alcohol in is it like 20%?
No, so it will be 40%.
Oh, 40%.
Yeah, so it's kind of about 30 to 40%. I'm not really a big spirit drinker, but as far as I'm aware, that's right.
So basically, on the bottle it says the percentage, right? So beer's got a percentage. Every single drink's got a percentage of alcohol. So you take that percentage, and then let's say you drank 100 mils of vodka. So that's probably like a couple of large shots, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so you've got your 100 mils. So then if it's 40%, that's 40 grams of alcohol is contained in that 100 mils, right? Because 1 mil and 1 gram are the same, pretty much. And again, this is only, it's never going to be an exact science. So it's just about having some loose, rough estimations. And I made an infographic on this in the steps that you take in order to track it. And what I'll also do is I'll put that in the MuscleBox Radio Facebook group for anyone who joins. You can have a look at that, and basically I show how you work all this out, and then I have a reference table with some common spirit drinks and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, So you work out the percentage, and then you know how many, for example, grams of alcohol are actually in that beverage, times that by 7, and then you've got your caloric content of that drink, right?
Yeah.
So then what you obviously need to add on is then any other beverages alongside that. So if you're having Diet Coke, then there's nothing. If you're having regular Coke, then you need to add in the calories from that. Same with, for example, beer. There could be there's going to be calories associated with the spirit or the alcohol part of that drink, and then obviously the carbonated sugar that's added in that as well. So you can have a look on the back of the thing, see how many grams of carbohydrates it contains, and then add that to the percentage of alcohol.
Yeah, I think people can get a little bit confused because obviously using an app like MyFitnessPal, they'll scan, let's say, a bottle of beer, and it will say it's maybe, let's say, 200 calories, and they'll look it out and it'll say 13 grams of carbohydrates and like maybe 3-4 grams of fat and a couple of grams of protein. And they'll times that by the times 4 times 9 for the macronutrient they're trying to work out, and they'll be like, well, that's not 200 calories.
Yeah.
But they forget, obviously, that MyFitnessPal doesn't have a classification from calories from alcohol. And I learned this the hard way a couple of years ago, where I had a night out planned, and it was a friend's stag do, actually. And I was like, well, I'm going to be bang on here. I'm going to track what I'm going to drink. And I tracked it all, and I looked at the macronutrients, and I didn't look at the calories on my MyFitnessPal. I was like, oh, I'll be bang on here, but why are the calories so much higher than the macronutrients? Oh, it must be a typo. And I just completely forgot to add in the calories from alcohol. And it's only second to fat in terms of the actual energy density, so it can rack up. And obviously if you have something like a spirit, you're going to get less calories from things like carbohydrates there.
Yeah.
Obviously, the alcohol percentage is higher, and if you're having like beer, the alcohol percentage is lower, but then you're going to have
But you drink more of it.
Yeah, you're going to have the calories from carbohydrates, etc.
So that's exactly it. It's that way up, isn't it? Of obviously the calories in vodka's real dense if it's 30-40% compared to like a 10 to 20% drink. But then if you're consuming 3 times the amount, then actually the beer is going to be more calorific than the vodka, because you just don't need as much vodka to if people drink to be merry, or if they just have or just to go through, like, I suppose on a social night, if there's so many rounds or whatever there might be, you want to be having a drink at each of those rounds. If that's what you do, then if I was going to go for 6, let's say there were 6 rounds going, I would go, okay, if I'm being mindful and I need to keep calories down, and this probably goes to the same as there's different levels of tracking alcohol. There's ground zero, not tracking anything, drinking everything. Then, like you said, being mindful, going, okay, I'll give myself 1,000 calories and just kind of have a few. Then there's probably estimation. So using the quick guide that I put out, or I will put out in the Musclebox Radio private group, that will show you some estimations in like a quick reference guide, so you could just add those into MyFitnessPal. And then finally, the last one's working everything out and tracking it exactly. But if I was to have 6 drinks, I'd probably go for a single shot of spirit with a diet beverage, and then that way I'm minimizing the amount of calories that are coming in. But everyone and my peers that I'd be with, I'd still be having a drink. It might not be the most manliest of drinks, but Diet Coke with a shot of vodka in is, or whatever, or lime and soda or something, is probably a decent way of going about things.
Yeah, and I think this is also what you have to take a pinch of salt. It all depends on why you do socially drink, and at the end of the day, I would much prefer to have like 2 pints of, like, let's say 2 pints of cider that I really enjoy, which are higher in calories, than having 6 slimline mixes, because they're less in calories. And it's that kind of that same thing of eating for volume, with lots of food on your plate, rather than having something that's a bit more energy dense, but you enjoy it more, and you maybe just realise it's not quite as big. So for me, I'm very much I will drink socially. Being at university, I've gone through that stage of my life, and I like to have a couple of drinks socially, and that's what does me these days. And I can go through 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks without even drinking at all. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
It should be a social and enjoyable.
Yeah, it's the difference between...
You need to be mindful of why you're actually having a drink. If you're just going out and just drinking to...
Get pissed.
To get smashed for the sake of it, well, question why you're actually doing it.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
But that could open a massive tin of worms, so we'll sidestep that one.
Yeah, exactly. Like some people might feel like they have to drink if they're entertaining clients, for example.
Yeah.
And it might just be a case of having a couple, like Diet Cokes with a spirit or something is an easy way of keeping things down. But yeah, when you're looking at MyFitnessPal, I've just looked in it there for an ounce of vodka it comes up on here is 70 calories, but the macronutrients they're not showing. So if you were just to look at your macronutrients, because there's a lot of people who will say, the calories in MyFitnessPal, it's rubbish, it never adds up. Okay, it's an estimate, it's never 100%, but it's still better than what I used to have to do, was use my Excel spreadsheet of a table of foods that I had and then try and work it out, but I could only stick to those foods because it was only what I'd found on the internet and it took me ages to do it. So it's great that we have these devices where you can have a good ballpark figure of what you're doing. So yeah, it's real good. So anyway, let's get on to Christmas gifts. You name one, I'll name one. You name one, and we'll see who can keep going. But they have to be fitness, training, or nutrition related. Our top gifts. So if you're, listening, and people are asking you, what do you want for Christmas? Here are mine and Chris's top Christmas presents. If you want to buy us something and send it to us, this is what we'd want.
So are these got to be things that I want this year, or stuff that I think people should get?
You could already have it.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to get this in straight away because you'll get in at some point. Joseph digital weighing scale.
Oh, nice, because they're portable, foldable, and they can fit in your pocket, and they are great.
They are good.
And they look awesome. Good, I like that one. I would go for a Fitbit to track my NEAT.
Very good. Yeah, that was going to be the next one. I would go with some, new smart shaker, bigger shaker.
Ooh, a shaker, nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Always get the 1 litre ones are much better because then you can just use it for sipping water intra-workout.
Nice, yeah. I'm going to go for, on that note, a 6-pack bag. I've recently purchased one. It's a rucksack. Again, this is thanks to Cardiff Sports Nutrition for helping me out here, and they also sorted out Laura as well. So actually great. I haven't used one of these in years. In really, really good. It's a rucksack. I can put all of my meals in it. My laptop's in there. My training kit's in there. My water bottle's in there. So I can just get my stuff ready, go out for the day, come back, grab, and I'm already there. I've got everything with me. It's great. So 6-pack bag.
Boom. If you've got anyone who's going to do a bit of meal prep, everyone's Tupperware needs chucking out at least once a year. So getting someone some new fancy Tupperware this time of year, if there's someone that's going to prep a bit of food, is always going to go down well.
And that's what's great about the 6-pack bag. It comes with 5 bits of Tupperware already.
Mate, are you working for them on the side?
Maybe I should be.
You should be. You're getting all the referrals.
Yeah. I am going to go for Bluetooth or wireless weighing scales. So Fitbit, Withings is it? There's a few different brands that do them. So you step on them and it automatically uploads to your MyFitnessPal. So you don't have to notepad and pen your weight every day. It does it automatically.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Not that I need one this year, but I would definitely get someone to look at a weightlifting belt. I know quite a lot of my clients are always asking me about weightlifting belts, and it doesn't matter whether you're trying to set the world alight with new PBs on squats and deadlifts, but it's a good little tool to have. And when you do take your lifting a bit more seriously, or just general training,
we've got the same one, haven't we?
Oh mate, we're all about the Scorpion belt.
Yeah, Scorpion belt, Amazon. It's like 20 quid, nice and thick, but it's quite supple. It's a little bit supple, isn't it, at the edges, which I quite like. So yeah, Scorpion lifting belt on Amazon, that's a good one. Maybe we should put the links to all these in our Facebook group as well. Maybe we should do that.
Although I will warn you, the first time you try and get yourself in and out of the Scorpion belt, you might feel that you're going to be trapped forever.
Yeah.
That's pretty tough.
Yeah, I'm going to go for some leather lifting straps. So I've got some Alico ones. They're great, about 30 quid.
Yeah, lifting straps are always good to have in the arsenal, whether you're doing some heavy pull works or some RDLs.
Yeah.
If I forget them, it's always when I actually need them.
Right, you'll go.
Ooh, getting a bit. I'm gonna mix it up here. I'm gonna go to the pre-workout arena and a Nespresso machine. If you are really throwing the cash out this year.
Nespresso machine with what sort of capsules?
I think a company called Kelowna and Smalls do capsules. Do they not, Steve?
Kelowna Coffee, yeah. Get some from there, guys. Yeah, they are one of our Team Box's sponsors. So Kelowna Coffee do the best coffee. It's a fact. They've won awards and stuff, world championships. So yeah, I like that. I am gonna go for a set of resistant bands, and I don't mean like the stretchy ones that we pump up with its show. I mean like bands that you can, do mobility with. You can put it around the bar to accommodate resistance when you're in the gym. So probably a set of those. Yeah, you'll go.
Yeah, that's a good one. We're running out of ideas.
Oh, mate, I'm going to beat you at this game. Come on, drink while you think.
Okay, I'm going to be so ashamed of staying with the espresso theme. Some Le Creuset espresso cups. And I've got right here.
Oh, I've got the same sort, mate. Nice. Great minds think alike. They're on brand. I'm going to go for a foam roller or like trigger point ball. Yeah,
nice. Yeah, very, very good.
Yeah, you'll go.
Yeah, you're doing well. I think we were writing notes down before we started this.
No, mate. I just know what I want.
You do, don't you? Well, if you again, like we're going on the theme of the lifting belt is lifting shoes.
Ooh, nice. Lifting shoes. Great. Yeah, love that.
Get rid of those crappy trainers which are terrible for squatting, got no stability. Yeah, lifting shoes, they are a big investment. You're going to be spending at least £100, but
well worth it.
You're probably going to have them for 4 or 5 years if you look after them, at least.
I'm going to go for straps, or what I'd probably prefer is sleeves, knee sleeves. I like my knees when I'm squatting to be nice and warm, and I feel like the compression, wraps obviously assist you more than sleeves, but I think they can both have their place depending on the activity and the exercise. So yeah, one or the other.
The sleeves won't change your squat mechanics as much as the wraps.
But there is something nice and psychological about wrapping yourself up real tight before a nice big heavy set. So even the placebo, I'd take that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go on the theme of shoes. I'm going to go, and this is not a plug for Reebok, but I've just used them for a while. Is that some Reebok trainers now? I'm not pro CrossFit. I'm not anti CrossFit, but the CrossFit kind of a flat-soled trainer can be pretty good for training, I've found. I've had a few pairs of them from Reebok, and quite honestly, they're really good value for money.
They're just quite dense, hard soles, aren't they, which are flat, really?
They're pretty comfortable, and, I've bought a couple of pairs of trainers from there for about £50. They've lasted me for quite a while, and they've got a good, nice flat sole, so if you are going to do something a little bit more functional, or walking lunges, they're just a bit more stable than maybe more of a running shoe. So yeah, for me, Reebok trainers for my gym shoes are my go-to choice now.
Okay, then I'm going to throw in some Team Box training kit.
Oh yeah, but mate, don't you have to be a Team Box client to get Team Box training kit?
You do.
Oh well, you see.
So that brings that could lead you on to the next one, Chris.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, mate. If I was getting serious for 2017, and I had some big goals, I would think about getting into coaching.
Yeah.
Getting a coach.
Exactly. With who?
What?
Team Box.
Probably yourself or me.
Yeah.
The other coaches are just as good.
No. So actually, this brings us on to the next point, which is that this is the reason why this is coming out a couple of days later, and I wanted to launch this on the 7th December because today is the day that we are opening up our books for coaching. So as a company that we only take on 30 clients each. Okay, so we're really passionate as a company about delivering high quality service. We are a premium coaching company. We dedicate an hour to each client each week, whether it's updating their training programs, making new things for them, going over their updates, recording them feedback, speaking to them on the phone. So because of that, we only take on 30 clients each, and we really make sure that we get to know our clients, we have a good relationship with them, and that builds up over time. So we are only taking on 5 clients each, and there are 6 coaches, so there are only 30 spaces available for coaching. Some of them have actually already gone, because of the pre-sale of that. If you are on our email list, you get a 48-hour exclusive early bird entry, and places are first come, first serve. So when this goes out today, and you'll see it on our social media, on our Instagrams, Facebooks, that we are taking on clients. And the reason why we are doing it now, you might think, well, that's a bit stupid, Steve, to launch, December, is that you're listening to us, you've either been reading our emails, you've been watching us on social media, you've been listening to the podcast. You clearly already are interested in training. You train all the time. You're not going to be the people who, set a New Year's resolution that you're going to start going to the gym 3 times a week. You're not that type of people. You're the type of people that go to the gym, you're committed, you're dedicated, and that's why we want to work with you. Okay, and we want our books to be full before it comes to January, in a way, so that we can make sure that, we are working with the clients that are committed and, dedicated to their goal. And then hopefully we can help educate you and just ensure that you're accountable and, making really, really good progress, whether that's just for a little bit of weight loss, whether that's for some muscle gain, you want to hit some new PBs in the gym, you want to step on stage, you want to do a photo shoot. We select the best coach for your goal. So if you look to compete, then it will be most likely myself that takes you on. If you're looking for some big strength numbers, you want muscle gain, Chris will probably be the main man. It just depends on what you want, really. And we want to make sure that we are the right company for you. So we make sure the selection's kind of made for you in a way as to who you want to work with. But anyway, that's my only plug. Yeah. Oh, one thing I would add to the list is carb killer bars.
Yeah, I did think about the old carb killer bars. Pretty carb killer that after the weekend, but they seem to be...
you can't go wrong, can you, with a box of those?
They're top of the tree in terms of protein bars at the moment, in my eyes.
Yeah, same.
Although Builder bars have been making a strong challenge.
Yeah, Builder bars are nice. They're like a little biscuit, aren't they? But yeah, for me, carb killers all the way. Anyway, thanks, Chris, for coming on to the show.
Thank you very much, mate.
So, if you want to work with Chris, then make sure you head over, or myself, or any of the other Teambox coaches, head over to team-box, and it's /apply. So if you head over to that, all the links are going to be on our Facebook page. So listen out to that. It's not difficult to find our website, team-box.co.uk, and then just click on apply, and then you are good to go. We'd love to work with you if you are listening. We really, really enjoy the podcast, and the more we can get to know you, the better. If you want to get in this Facebook group where I'll be sharing the links to the infographic and also the live lecture from James and Javi, I will share that into that group as well, so we can continue education. Then if you've got any more questions for Chris, you can just ping him in there and hopefully he'll reply. If not, then I will try to. But anyway, we hope you have a lovely Christmas from me and Chris, and next week I think it's me and Dan, isn't it, talking?
I think so, mate. I don't know, I happen to be somewhere else next week, so...
Oh, you're in New York, aren't you?
Yeah, buddy.
Big time. No, I'm jealous. So have a great time out there, and be real mindful, okay?
Okay. I think I've got all the strategies now anyway, so...
Mate, you've got all the strategies. Right, Chris, thanks, mate. See you later.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Take care.